Hi guys, welcome back to the Mina Does Art Stuff YouTube channel. My name is Mina and on this channel we do art stuff. It has been a while. I was not expecting to take such a break from the channel and from filming and from posting. It has been a few months. Things have been quite hectic and they will continue to be a little bit hectic for the next few months, but I will explain as we get going. But essentially life just got a bit crazy and something had to give, and unfortunately this channel was one of those things. I've started a new job which is still part-time, so I'm still working from home, but that's taken up a bunch of my time now as well. And so there's been that, there's been illnesses, and like I've been ill, or my children have been ill, there's been all sorts of things going on. There's been birthdays and all sorts of stuff in the last few months since I've last posted, but I had a little bit of time today to film a video, so I thought I would come back and film a fun little sketchbook paint along video. I have been in a bit of an art slump, just in a bit of a slump creatively for the last while, and it's just been hard to find my groove again, as it were, not just with painting and art but also with like just creativity in general. And so I've really been struggling in that respect, and so we're just going to do a really low-key, really basic sort of landscape painting today. Nothing too crazy, nothing too serious, just a bit of fun. I have this palette here in front of me which is a mix of Van Gogh and Rembrandt watercolors for the most part. I recently went to Amsterdam with my husband and I picked up a few new paints from Rembrandt and Van Gogh, and so along with the colors I already had, I sort of created this palette. There are a few other random brands in here. I think there's a couple of Paul Rubens pans, and this one here is Daniel Smith, but I believe the majority in here is Van Gogh or Rembrandt paints. So I haven't done a swatch card for it. I know what some of the colours are, but I can't remember all of them off the top of my head. The pans are all labelled, so I can always find out. If there's a particular colour you're interested in, let me know in the comments and I'll try and figure out what it is for you and let you know. I'm also going to be using this 10/0 Raven brush from Jackson's for most of the painting, and then I have this size 4 Da Vinci Fit Synthetics which I'll use for some of the details towards the end. But yeah, so let's just get on with it. The water's slightly off camera here, so apologies for that, and I have this extra mixing palette here off the side for when I need it. Yeah, and like I said, I'm just going to get started. I'm not really going to explain too much about what I'm doing. I'm mixing here a what colour is this one? It's like a cobalt cerulean type colour, and I mixed that with a bit of ultramarine for a sky colour. So like I was saying, it's been a crazy few months and it's going to be pretty hectic for the next few coming up. June is a busy month for us. We've got 2 international weddings that we are attending, and there's only a week between them. So the first one's going to be in France, south of France, and the second is in Greece, which is the second one's also my brother's wedding, so a little bit more involved in that one. And yeah, so the first one's my second cousin, and the second one, like I said, is my brother's, so it's gonna be lots of family time over the coming weeks, which will be really nice. Also, one of our cats is going through some health issues at the moment. We're not entirely sure what the problem is. We've been to see our regular vet about it a bunch, and we've now been referred to see a specialist vet, and I took him in, when did I take him? Last week. He went in and had a CAT scan on a cat, and the results and some initial tests which were inconclusive, which is not very helpful. But all that, I mean, he's back in again now. I had to take him this morning and they're going to be doing a biopsy to try and figure out what's going on with him. It's not an infection or anything that would have shown up on the test they've already done. So he's in at the moment to get that done. I've got to go back and pick him up on Saturday morning. Today's actually Thursday the 16th of May. So I have to go back on Saturday to pick him up. And then my daughter, my older daughter, has some events at school the next few days. She's got a cello concert she's performing in and a swimming gala next week. It's just, you know, summer's approaching and things are getting crazy. My husband was away for work last week and I was so ill. Turns out I had a throat infection. So I was alone with the girls and it was just been a lot. It's been a lot the last few weeks, I will be honest. And it's just been just one thing after another. I've not had any like real downtime. I've not been sleeping particularly great. Sorry, I've just been mixing up some greens and some other colours. Sorry, you can't see the greens there on the palette. Just getting the colours prepped and ready to go. Yeah, so it's just been a crazy few weeks in our household, and my husband's job is very demanding, so at the moment he's traveling a fair bit for work, either up to London or internationally, and you know, it's just the nature of his job, which is fine. It's, you know, we knew that going into it. It's nothing unknown to us, and you know, it was the agreement we had that he would take on this job and I would be primary parent, as it were, whilst he's primary earner, and that's absolutely fine. But it does just get a little bit tricky sometimes, that's all. And yeah, so just doing a fun sort of gradient sky. So I did the blues, and then this is I believe it's carmine, the Van Gogh carmine colour, which is really pretty. And had that blend in a bit with that blue at the top, and then coming in with this one is actually a White Nights colour. It's their Naples Yellow Light, which, and I do remember the pigment for this one. It's PY216. So I think Schminker has this as well, and they call it Turner's Yellow in the Schminker line. Okay. Oh, and the one thing I didn't explain was the sketchbook I'm using. I'll explain that in a second. And the carmine, I believe, is PR186. And the other one, the blues, was a mix of ultramarine, which is PB29, and I think it was like a cerulean blue. So like a chromium. It's similar to the Daniel Smith cerulean blue chromium, or chromium blue. I think it's a PB35 or 36. I can't remember which one. Yeah, so the sketchbook I'm using is this Paul Rubens cold press sketchbook. It's 50% cotton, and it's not too bad. The only thing I would say is it is one of those sketchbooks where, sorry about that, battery ran out. What I was saying is it is one of those sketchbooks where every other page, on every page the texture is slightly different. So you got one side which has much rougher texture, and then the other side has smoother texture. So we're currently on the smoother side, so it's slightly more of a hot press type feel. Anyway, I'm just going to speed up the drying process here. Actually, you know what, before I do that, I'll throw in a couple of drops of water for some cloud type effect. There's a bit of granulation in these paints, or in the blues anyway, so it might be fun to play around with a bit of textures in the sky. Just see what happens to that as we dry off. If you know what, let's just throw in some drops. It's kind of experimenting a little bit and see how this goes. Looks like it'd be quite fun. Okay, I'll grab a clip just to clip down this top edge. Okay, so there's our sky. I thought it was quite fun. The splatters kind of added a fun little cloud texture. And yeah, so let's crack on with the greenery. So I've mixed up a darker and a lighter green at the top here, and we can adjust those as we go as we need to. We'll start with the lighter green and just sort of swoop in a bit of land, kind of overlapping that green, the yellow area at the bottom of the sky a little bit. And then swoop it down a bit, like that. And then like bringing in a touch of gold. This is a quinacridone gold colour. I can't remember what brand. That might also be White Knights. I think they call theirs Indian Gold. Just bringing a nice sort of swoop along the bottom there. And then a bit more of the green underneath. There we go. A bit like that. And then whilst the green is still a bit wet, we'll go in with the darker shade. And so the darker shade I'm using here is actually mostly just this this one here, which is a Daniel Smith colour. It's their dark sap green, which is a really nice, slightly less saturated version of like a Perylene green. So a Perylene green is really dark, but this is just ever so slightly not quite as dark as that, but it's literally as it says, it's like a dark sap green. Just doing some rough sort of tree line along the top edge, and then coming in from the other side. And then a little bit more along. There you go. Just a little bit of contrasting detail, wet on wet. I'm going to dry this bit off as well. Alright, so far so good. I'm actually really happy with how this is turning out so far. Hopefully I don't ruin it with the next step. Alright, so next up we're going to do some details. So I'm going to grab some red. This is a Naphthol Red Bluish by Rembrandt. And I'm just mixing it up with whatever sort of pink carmine I had over here. I'll add a bit more of the carmine to it. And this is going to be some bright red flowers in the field. So, should we go for a splatter or dab technique? Let's see. I'll just that's quite fun. Let's go for a little bit more. Just protect the sky area because I don't want that to get all red splatters on it. Somehow I still managed to get red splatters up in the sky, but it doesn't matter. It's just a bit of fun in the sketchbook. I'm not too precious about it. And then we're just going to go in and create some larger little flowers throughout. Nothing too crazy. I'm literally just dabbing. I'm not really creating specific shapes or petal. I'm just dabbing in little circles, leaving space in the middle just to imply flowers. Just like that. That looks really fun. Okay, and then come in with some okay, I'm going to add in, I've got some Payne's grey here. I'm going to mix that in with our darker green, just get it a little bit even darker. Also throw in a bit of indigo. Okay, and then do some grass details. Just adding a few stalks here and there, just applying some extra plant growth, etc. And then just add in a little bit more detail up top, and tree lines. You can skip this step if you don't want to. Part of me wishes I hadn't done this now, but it's okay. We'll just go with it. Just add a bit of a lighter green for like a highlight. Just a bit of a contrasting colour into the grassy bits at the bottom. Just a bit of colour variation. Okay. And finally, I'm just going to grab an even finer brush. I've got a size 0 here. And I'm just going to go straight up indigo. And we'll do a couple of little birds in the sky. Hopefully I don't mess it up. This is always the bit where I'm like, it either works or it doesn't. Alright, I'm just gonna leave it at that before I mess it up even further. There we go. Okay, I should really stop. And there we have it. I'm actually really chuffed with how that turned out. It was really fun, really simple, didn't take that long at all. Probably about like, I don't know, 10 minutes overall maybe, with all the chit-chatting and stuff. Yeah, I had a hair or a bit of fibre that was stuck over there, so that's why that bit's a bit funny, because I'd try and pick it out. But yeah, no, otherwise I'm really happy with how that turned out. Before I actually started filming, I did do a practice one, and I much prefer how this one turned out, because as you can see, this one turned out a little bit dark. I didn't really like how the flowers turned out as much. Let me zoom it out so you can see the difference. Yeah, and I really think the second one turned out better. I was a bit more loose with it and not trying as hard, as it were. The birds definitely turned out better in the second one. I was using too big of a brush for the birds in the first one. But yeah, I'm really chuffed with how that turned out. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Wishing you guys all health, happiness, good vibes, all the things. Hopefully you guys are staying safe, your families are healthy, you're healthy. And yeah, wishing you all the best for the coming weeks. I am going to endeavour to film as much as I can, post as often as I can. I'm not going to promise a particular schedule. At this point, like I said, at least for the next month or so, my life is pretty hectic until after the weddings. Oh yes, and then once we get back from my brother's wedding, it's my youngest's 2nd birthday, and I'm just mind blown that she's almost 2. Like, I can't even wrap my head around it. So yeah, I really don't know until between now and the end of June how often I will realistically be able to post on this channel. I do have plenty of ideas of things I want to post. There might be just a few swatching videos between now and then, because they are a little bit easier, quote unquote, for me to film and edit. They don't take as much editing time, because I like to do them chatty, sort of talking through the process anyway. So those might be more the type of video you see over the next few weeks until I can get back to filming a bit more. But let me know what kind of videos you're interested in. So for now, just to give you a rough idea, I have a Schminker palette setup video in the works. I have some more colour comparisons that I am trying to get together. Those take a little bit more time to sort of pull together everything. But I know those were really popular videos, everyone really enjoyed them, found them really useful, and I definitely have more of those in the works coming soon. Like I said, I've got some more swatching videos. I have my Daniel Smith swatch card, which I want to do on camera as well. I have some paper testing that I want to do as well, testing out different papers. I want to do some gouache videos. I have loads of ideas. I have a running list of ideas on my phone. So if you have any ideas of things you'd like to see, or if any of the ones I've just mentioned are of particular interest to you, then please let me know in the comments section down below, and I will try and prioritize the most popular ones. All right, thank you so much for joining me today. I will see you guys again soon. Take care. Bye.